So you want to talk football? Welcome to Black and Gold Forever, a podcast for Steeler Junkies. I'm the Steel Pulse. I'm the quarterback up in this huddle. Huddle up! Huddle up! I keep it clean. I keep it real. And you can come here and get the scoop without the poop. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that I'm not taking any crap. That means don't come here with the cussing or the name calling, because I'm simply not going to pay you any attention when you do those things. And if you cuss, I'm just going to delete your posts and your comments. Don't do it. If you need help with your language, you can consult your local thesaurus. All right, so that's really the main rule for participating. Let me explain how the Black and Gold Forever podcast works. What we want to do is we want to be in communication with one another about some things about the Steelers that Steeler fans like to talk about. So sometimes we don't want to go through the whole lot of the rigmarole of listening to long-winded videos or what have you, and we certainly don't want to go back and forth battling over things that don't really matter or they're not Steeler related. And this way you'll have a chance to kind of interact and talk about some things and respond a certain way. And you'll see how it goes if you're participating in the podcast. So I'd like to welcome you to this is the first one. I did try one a few years ago. It didn't go as well as I wanted. So maybe this particular time, this experience will be a lot better, and we'll have a lot more fun. It'll be interactive between you and me. Let me explain what happens. I prefer that you do video or audio responses on Facebook. On YouTube, you won't be able to do that, but so your written comments will work just as well. And even on Facebook, if you decide you don't want to do audio or video, it's perfectly fine to leave a comment. Criticism is welcome, but again, don't do the belittling and name calling, because that's a waste of your time. So there's no point in you even wasting your time. Sure, your time is valuable, though. Don't do it, because I'm not going to pay it any attention. But if you decide to leave written responses, just make sure that they're written clearly so I can at least understand what you're telling me. And if it's just a comment and say hi, that's fine. If you want to correct something I'm saying, or maybe you don't like how I'm presenting something, I'm open to that sort of dialogue as well. Just let me know what it is you think. If it's something reasonable, I'll incorporate it. If not, I'll just consider it a favor on your part just to participate, and I do appreciate that. And if you do leave a video or audio response, please, if you can, minimize it to about a minute. That makes it more efficient for me to respond to it, and then that way your comments are understood, and I can even include you in some of the dialogue, because I love doing that. Hello! First, to start out again, welcome again to Black and Gold Forever. That's the podcast. This is strictly for Steeler Junkies, and I'm going to start out by saying thank you to a few faithful Steeler Junkies on the Steel Pulse group. The Steel Pulse group has been a wonderful experience. We started in 2017, and it has been a blast kicking it with you guys. If you're listening, there are a few people who have been exemplary, and I definitely want to include them in my shout outs. You'll know who you are. I won't use your last name, but you'll know who you are when you hear the names. You have made the experience wonderful. I mean, I get all sorts of things from individuals, and I'm gonna call the names out, and then I'll tell you what some of the folks do to merit such comments and such praise that I'm giving them. So listen up for your names if you hear it. Hey, what's happening? And Gwen, Roger, Barry, Carol, Sonia, Patricia, Donna, Robert, Christian, Stan, Derek, Cheryl, Keith, and Nick. And Marlene. These are some of my more faithful participants in the group, and they do all manner of things. You get daily bulletins, news, just morning hellos, pictures, personal experiences. Some of the people know some people who played for this great Steeler football team, and so they'll post those experiences. I get all sorts of drawings, banners, I mean, all sorts of, and I forgot Kasim Sports. Yes, they put my banner together here. They did this. This is wonderful. And all of these people do something every day. Sometimes I just get quirky responses from people that just, respond to some of the posts that are on the page. And it's just really interesting stuff, and I really do enjoy it. And there's no nation greater than Steeler Nation. This is the best football team, best fan base on the planet, bar none. And so I thank everyone who makes the page a wonderful experience. Keep doing what you do. I love interacting with you guys, and hopefully this will just provide another way for us to interact and talk to one another, because we do have that in common. We love these Steelers. So I'm going to take a break for our sponsor. Excuse me. Yo, Steel Post, you got merch? Yeah, I got merch. It's easy as pie, man. Just check the link in the comment section below. You'll be able to check out the website. You can check out my EST brand, which sponsors this program. So just check out the website down below, man. No need to interrupt the broadcast ever again. Well, some people are really rude, but that's okay. We'll just move right along. And listen, what about the Steelers for this 2023 season? I mean, I'm optimistic. How about you? I mean, I enjoyed the draft. We got some really good players. I like how we started off by handling our most immediate needs, which was our offensive line. And so I think that by addressing that, and I'm not going to get into specifics on this first show. This first show is really just to kind of introduce you to the format and to let you know what kinds of things we'll be talking about. But I did love the draft. I think that addressing the offensive line, addressing our defensive backfield was really important, but adding a tight end was really a genius move too, because we were kind of strong in that position, but we just got better there. And I think our offensive line has gotten better as well. And we have a nice classical mix of veterans with a lot of new people. We're a very new team, meaning we have a lot of new parts, a lot of new pieces. So it'll be interesting to see how these players are used. I'm interested, really. I'm going to just tell you straight off the bat, this is what I want to see. I want to see that offense get going. I want to see if Matt Canada can put together an offensive scheme that actually best utilizes the players that he has on his roster. That's what I'm looking to see, really. We have a Cadillac in the backfield. I want that Cadillac to get to running down the field, jumping over people, doing things that make him special, and getting in the end zone, particularly in the first quarter. It'd be nice if we were regularly scoring before the other team scores. That's what you want to do. You want to put the onus on the other team to keep up with you rather than vice versa. So I'd like to see the offense progress to that. I think we're really strong in the wide receiver spots. I like what we have there. We brought in some new personnel, and we also have young guys that haven't had a chance to play yet. We even had one particular receiver. Again, I'm avoiding the names until I get all the roster information out to everybody, and I'm just speaking in generalities, but I did see that the wide receiver core has, again, we have two new guys from other teams that have played with other organizations, and we're looking at guys who regularly were producing 30 to 40 50 receptions per year, which that fits in really nicely with the kind of offensive scheme that uses slot receivers and really short controlled passing games. So I think we have a lot of good receivers for that. And we even have some downfield presence. We got speed, and we've got guys who can make really good efforts on 50-50 balls. I think our receiving core is really nice. And then we've added to it by, again, I mentioned earlier about the tight end, so I think that's really going to be something to look at. And so I'm really hopeful about this offense. Now on defense, I I'm really glad that we kind of tidied up at the cornerback spots. I think that's really going to do us well by putting a veteran at one cornerback, and then we have a rookie that we don't have to pressure into being an immediate impact player, but he has the potential to be just that. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's Peasy Jr. over there on corner. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. The only thing I think that's really I'm kind of up in the air about, really, I just want to see what we're looking before I speak on it. That's the inside linebackers. Our linebackers are really good against the run, but man, the passing game is going to challenge us there in those areas. That's why guys like Spillane left and Miles Jack, they're not as good in the coverage and passes. So and we brought in more linebackers that are really strong against the run. So but passing has yet to be seen what they can do against the pass, and that's really important in our division because we have teams that can chuck the ball around the yard. So I'm interested to see. We did draft a guy again from Wisconsin. We got a lot of Wisconsin guys, and I think that I'm hoping that he's going to be able to be what we need. He's going to be that versatile two-way linebacker in the inside positions. That's going to give us some stability there, so we're not getting crushed downfield. So that's really something I'm going to be looking forward to. I'm not even in the slightest am I worried about our defensive pass rush, our defensive line, even against the run. If we stay healthy, I think we're good. Then that's the way it's been for the past a good number of years. When we're healthy on the defensive line, we are good. But this time, I think we've even got depth. So even if we're not as healthy as we'd like to be, we have some depth there. You understand? A good blend of older players who can mentor some of those younger players and put that Steeler mentality into their way of thinking. I think that they're going to be stellar. We're going to be some bone crushers on defense, man. Teams are not going to just be able to just run them through us and such. I don't see how that's going to be. But again, we'll see. And again, as we get closer and move through the OTAs and move closer to the preseason and our regular season, then of course we'll be able to speak more on how these folks are progressing to becoming Steelers and playing Steeler football. Because that's one thing about Steeler Nation. We have a certain brand we're looking for in our football, and so we'll be able to speak on how close we're getting to producing that kind of football as the months move on. All right, so and after we have sessions like this where we get the chance to talk about some things that are coming up, I'll also have a segment called Agree to Disagree. All right, and at this moment, and when you have the Agree to Disagree, I've come up with something where it's always a controversial issue in Steeler Nation, and it's probably an issue that almost will never be resolved with this. If so, there's only one resolution to it. Until you see that resolution, there's going to always be the argument, right? So we call it Agree to Disagree. This week, we're going to start out at the top. We're going to go straight to Mike Tomlin. Agree to disagree, right? Now, which is it? Is Tomlin one of the greatest coaches in the history of not just our organization, but in the history of the sport? I've heard people say that. Or is he a coach who's just kind of fortunate that he's with the Steelers, or he'd have been fired years ago? I'm not sure how people see it. I've gotten lots of responses from lots of different people about it. It's kind of hard to get a handle on how people really feel. And Tomlin has been with the Steelers now 15, 16 seasons, one or two. I guess I didn't do my math, but he came in, according to the way some people put it, he had a team that was kind of constructed prior. Coach Cowher kind of worked with the GM and put together a team that Tomlin kind of inherited. Now, still, he coached that team to Super Bowl success. All right, he's never had any season where he didn't at least have a 500 record. So he's never had a losing season, and that's his claim to fame. He's well respected around the league for having command of a team that produces that way, but the way that he treats his players and relates to his players, that too is well respected, and I think that goes a long way with explaining why he's able to have the longevity that he's had, despite the fact that a lot of Steeler fans feel that he's outdone his welcome because the playoffs and lack of Super Bowl success after having built his own team without having players that he inherited or even having a Hall of Fame quarterback or what have you. All of these are points of contention when you start talking about Tomlin. All right, so here's what I like for folks to do. If you have a video and you want to give a video response of how you feel about Tomlin, that's cool. If you just want to send a GIF on Facebook, even that's cool. And you don't have to like Mike Tomlin or agree that he's the best coach, or however you feel is your prerogative. It's your choice. You're the fan. I'd like to hear from you. Only thing I ask is, as I mentioned before, we try to keep it respectful. I mean, he is an adult man. He's a grown man, and it's not simple to coach in the NFL, regardless of how you feel about it and how you feel about his performance. He's the one that has the job, and there are only a few people on the planet who could even do the job. So you kind of got to have respect at least for that. Before you start speaking on another man and how well they do their job. Regardless of how long you've been a fan, all right, there's only been 3 coaches for most of our lives. But regardless of how you feel about it, you still owe the man respect because he did coach the team to 2 Super Bowls. He did win 1. Regardless of how he got his team, coaches inherit teams all the time and don't take them to Super Bowls, okay? Sometimes they inherit good teams and still don't advance to the Super Bowl, okay? Twice, all right? We have some coaches that haven't done it at all. So we do keep that in mind. Now, there are some things that you can say about Tomlin that are of critical acclaim. People would know what you were talking about if you brought that up. So it's fine to mention those things. We get it. All right. But I will say this. He's the coach. And so until someone else is the coach, I roll with Tomlin. That's basically how it goes for me. I have some opinions. I'll share mine after you share yours. All right. And so really, I just wanted to mention too that when we are discussing the Pittsburgh Steelers, all right, I wanted to also discuss in terms of what is a Steeler fan. Now, I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm not even going to give you any idea of what I have in mind. I'd like to know, what are your thoughts? What exactly is a real Steeler fan? Because no one has ever defined it. I get all kinds of suggestions as to what people think when someone says something that another one doesn't like or doesn't agree with, then you get all kinds of descriptions. But what actually is that? I mean, how do you feel about it? You can tell me, again, you can do a video, you can do just an audio, or you can do it in writing. But tell me what your thoughts are. What is an actual real Steeler fan? I'd be interested to see what everybody thinks. All right. So now that will bring an end to our first episode. And most of my episodes will be a little shorter than this one because they'll be more structured and more organized, and they'll be more in line with an outline of things to discuss and show you and talk about. But this was I had to do some introductions, give you an idea of where we were going, so it took a few extra moments. I'm glad that you stopped by. I really am. It's been good to see you folks again. Thank you for all that you do to keep our page and our group going. If you're not part of our group, you're welcome to join our group. You see links in the comment sections. And also, if you decide, you probably saw my commercial for merchandise. And yes, I do have merchandise. I have some for the group. I have some that serves a different purpose, and you'll be getting more information about that. There's a link for that as well, where you can go and you can browse and you can see what the EST brand is all about. That's another one of my sponsors, EST brand. It's a brand of clothing that's very specific to years, age, so to speak, and everything has an age, and so you can celebrate the age of that particular thing, whether it be your football team, whether it be your marriage, your children, what have you, how many years you've been in your house. You can always celebrate when that item or that situation was established. All right, so that's what the brand is. Visit the site if you're interested in that as well, and I look forward to talking to you down the road. It's the Still Pulse signing out. Black and gold forever.